Exactly when did the water crisis begin at Richmond's drinking water treatment plant last month? Documents obtained by CBS 6 appear to show a different timeline than what has been previously reported.
All new at 6. Our Melissa Hippolyte has an update in her ongoing investigation. Melissa?
Initially, Dominion Energy told us that they received a report of a power outage at the water treatment plant at 6:50 a.m. Later, Mayor Danny Avula said the plant actually lost power just before 6 a.m. Now, through a public records request, we've obtained a work request that appears to show the plant started having power issues quite a bit earlier. 4:42 a.m. Monday, January 6th, a DPU employee sends a work request to the maintenance program manager for Richmond's water treatment plant. In it, he says the plant took a power bump at 4:25 a.m. After the bump, he says, we attempted to restart. The DPU worker then goes on to say VFD would restart, reach 20% speed, shut itself off, then attempt to restart over and over again. Please investigate. What do you think should have happened at 4:25 a.m. when that power bump was noted and those VFDs were struggling to come back online?
An immediate call should have been made to the power company at that time to verify that power was being provided to the water treatment plant, to try to understand what the power bump was. And then there should have been a complete assessment of the electrical system at that time. And had that been done, I think they would have flagged issues a lot earlier than what ended up occurring, and more than likely would have prevented the flooding of the clear well, which shut down the entire plant.
That's Joel Paulson, a licensed professional engineer with 20 years of experience designing water systems for municipalities. We talked to him at the beginning of the water crisis and have been sharing our public records requests with him to get a better understanding of what may have happened at the plant. A second document in our public records request seems to shed more light on the chain of events that morning. This email, sent by another DPU employee, appears to lay out a timeline of that employee's morning. At 5:50, he noted a no power and low battery power alarm from Douglasdale, which is the location of the water treatment plant.
Almost all water treatment plants nowadays have uninterrupted power supplies, and those are in the form of battery systems. When the plant lost its primary power source, those batteries would turn on automatically. Low battery power would indicate it was about to fail, and they don't have any other electrical source backing that up.
He stated he called two people who would both respond and asked them to check all stations while out.
All of these things should have been directed to a supervisor immediately. I mean, these are critical warnings, red flags that need to be addressed immediately, with somebody who understands the plants so that they know what's going on and they can take corrective action to prevent a crisis.
At 6:30, he wrote that affluent flow was going over. The city redacted the rest of the sentence.
That means their clear well was flooding within the water treatment plant.
At 6:50, he said the Douglasdale battery power was low. Again, Douglasdale is the location of the plant.
At a minimum, they should have had the emergency backup generators on.
A little before 7 a.m., DPU and plant leadership start getting involved. At 6:55, the superintendent of the plant texts the then director of Richmond DPU, April Bingham, and tells her about a loss of power at the plant. Assessment in progress, production is down, crews are responding. Bingham asks him to call her. She then writes that he is en route to the plant and his ETA is less than 30 minutes. She says he is reaching out to the counties to cut back on demand. Now, at the same time, the maintenance program manager for Richmond's water treatment plant sends a text. The plant is down due to a power issue. That's all I know right now. I'm on the way in. Our folks are there. He sends another text at 7:16, power is back, but dealing with flooding issue. According to information shared by Mayor Danny Avula with reporters in the days after the water crisis, when the power failure occurred, the switchgear did not automatically transfer power to a secondary power source. Avula said an electrician was called in and they made the decision not to activate the generators, but instead manually switch to the secondary Dominion power source.
I'm still under the belief that the emergency generators should have been powered on immediately at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Had that occurred, it would have prevented all of these issues with the water system.
Avula said power was restored a little after 7:30 a.m., but the plant's IT system, which is the brains of the system, did not reconnect to servers after a reboot, which was crucial for the plant's operations. The IT system had backup battery power, but it went offline before full power was restored. These challenges led to flooding in the plant due to the inability to close valves that were pumping water into the basement.
As soon as they started getting low power notifications, the director should have been notified that there's a major problem at the water treatment plant, and everybody should have been on call to get there to figure out what was going on and try to take corrective actions the best they could.
Now, we have asked the city if the plant superintendent or maintenance program manager for the plant were called when that power bump occurred and what their protocol is in a situation where a power bump occurs or an alarm goes off indicating no power or low battery power. We are waiting to hear back. We've also asked Dominion if they were notified by the city of that bump, and we are waiting to hear back. I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.